Chapter 221. You kid is a character. These are the protection fees for us to honor you. You can see if this is enough for you to protect us once. Shajir said, looked at Marco and motioned him to count. Hey, you kid is really willing to do it. Looks like a person who can do great things. It's okay to catch Jack, and you know how to bribe our Whitebeard pirates. Your tactics are very good. Marco opened the box and saw, oh, there are all kinds of treasures inside. Pearls, goings, gems, crowns, and a crate of Baileys. And this is a wine that nourishes chi and blood. Drinking 2 cups a day will make your body healthier. Shajir looked at Enel again, who immediately brought 3 jars of wine. It's just that each of these wine jars is extremely huge, even if Whitebeard is in front of the wine jar, it's just the same height. Cool, you kid is really to my taste. Whitebeard's eyes lit up at the sight of the wine. He is so hungry. After serving the wine, Shajir suddenly strayed from Vivi and Marco. Then, Shajir lowered his voice and said, let the ship doctor watch more. Although this wine is good, it is not good for his body to drink it like that. You need to drink this wine slowly, and slowly adjust your father's body. Let the ship doctor test Dad's body every day. If this medicinal wine is not effective, let him drink less, and I will not give it again in the future. If it works, I will continue to send it in the future. Hearing this, Marco couldn't help but feel helpless to Isho. I'm afraid that your idea will be difficult to realize. Do you still know about Dad's temper? We have a few things that he believes are great. Shajir seemed to be the same when he heard it, and then he couldn't help but sighed helplessly. He said, I'm afraid he won't drink too much of this medicinal wine. If you drink too much, the taste will be much worse. An alcoholic like Dad should not be able to stand the bitter and salty taste. If I drink other wines at this time, I am afraid that all the wines will be tasteless. I hope that at that time, my father will not blame me. After finishing speaking, Shajir said to Anna and the others behind him, bring all the things I paid tribute to. Brothers. Yes, Natsu-sama. Seeing that Shajir and Marco and Whitebeard became one so quickly, everyone except Anna couldn't help but look at Shajir, tisk amazement. In the end as their leader, is amazing. Immediately, they brought up a box of things. Inside are all kinds of medicinal materials and weapons. Cool, you have a heart, the gift is well prepared. There are also a group of good men. Whitebeard looked at Shajir with a smile on his face, and then looked away from Enel, Anna and the others, saying with satisfaction. Come on, it's banquet. Whitebeard raised his arms very happily, and all the members of the Moby Dick suddenly cheered. The banquet carnival lasted a whole night. The next day, Shajir and the others left on the ship. On the way back to his base camp, Shajir defeated Jack and captured him alive to Whitebeard, which quickly spread in the New World. What a lawless and terrifying guy, he even killed a powerhouse at the level of drought. This news is really exciting. It's been less than 2 years since his debut, and he has achieved such a reputation. This guy is about to completely eclipse all the newcomers of his age. Chapter 222 Become Shichibukai. Can this kind of prestige still be called a newcomer? Nonsense. This is already a representative of the extremely evil era. The next step is to be the New World silver medalist, and even to compete for the position of the 4 emperors. Everyone on the sea of the New World is boiling again because of the name Thunder Hunter. The sea, which was already not calm enough, suddenly became even more turbulent. Asshole. When the news reached Kaido's ears on Onigashima, Kaido turned into a big dragon in anger, flew into the sky, and dropped a discoloring thunder penalty against the surrounding sky event himself. Anger. It turned out to be the collaborator of the Whitebeard guy, which is equivalent to joining the Whitebeard pirates in disguise. He is really clever enough to hand over a hot potato to Whitebeard. Plague Queen smoked a cigar and said with a gloomy and cold expression. He knew that if he wanted to take Jack back, he would definitely bleed a lot, and Marco and the others would definitely not miss such a good opportunity to extort money. Foo. Well, as expected of the Thunder Hunter, his methods are really powerful. It seems that we should provoke this guy less in the future. Doflamingo, who moved out of Dressrosa, said with a dreadful expression. After being defeated by Shazherqing 3 times in a row, he also began to have some psychological shadows on Shazherqing, and he did not dare to speak ill of Shazherqing anymore. Marine Headquarters. I originally wanted to find another person to hold this position, but now it seems that it is you. Your current prestige is probably the strongest in the entire Shichibukai. Sengoku finally finalized the last Shichibukai spot, and decided to be Shazherqing. And those who were rejected by Sengoku were selected, including newcomers and veterans. The next day, some island. What an infuriating guy. He just stole all the glory from me and turned me into a down-and-out person who no one cares about. Damn. Cavendish, known as the White Horse in the Sea, looked at the various contents about Shazherqing in the newspaper in his hand, and couldn't help stomping his feet with gnashing teeth. I saw the position of the genuine heart in the newspaper, a big headline, big decision. The last spot for Shichibukai belongs to the Thunder Hunter. Especially conspicuous. Just when Cavendish was gnashing his teeth and cursing Shazherqing, almost the whole world knew about Shichibukai's last place, which belonged to Shazherqing. Great. As expected. There is no one else except him. Shazherqing became Shichibukai, completely expected by people on the whole sea. If such a dazzling Shazherqing can't become Shichibukai, then Marine would be too inferior. And Shazherqing became Shichibukai, and the happiest person was the resident of Mock Town. Before, they had the identity of the Thunder Hunter, and now, they have put on the name of Shichibukai. After this, who would dare to provoke them? 10,000 Baileys this month, it's really worth it. I always feel that the Thunder Hunter is deliberately looking for a pretext to collect some money, and then justifiably protect us. Shazherqing's image suddenly became even taller in the eyes of Mock Town residents. So much so that when Shazherqing came back, he was greeted by many residents. Don't say that Shazherqing has never seen this situation, even Enel and the others are stupid. After becoming Shichibukai, Shazherqing's business expansion also began. Chapter 223 Quests from Drum Island. After becoming Shichibukai, Shazherqing's business expansion also began. There is no doubt that with the identity of Shichibukai, the difficulty of doing business suddenly dropped a lot. Shichibukai, what is that? A pirate who is legally looted by the world government and marine. What does that mean? It means that Shazherqing can now go to any non-world government alliance country to loot. Totally legal and won't be hunted by marine. You can come as you want, even if you kill 1 or 2 marines, there is no problem. Of course, Shazherqing wouldn't do something like killing marine. Do business, make money with peace. The Summer Chamber of Commerce, under the auspices of Shazherqing, is in full swing and steadily. With Shazherqing's central scheduling, the Summer Chamber of Commerce has recovered quite quickly. In less than half a month, it has almost recovered to the scale of more than a year ago. Originally, Anna meant to continue to expand, but Shazherqing rejected it. The reason is, the rice should be eaten in one bite, and the steps should not be too big at once, and it is easy to pull the crotch. Anna thinks it makes sense and has no objection. The progress of writing wheel has reached 90%, and the recovery is not far away at last. Without a system, Shazherqing felt that something was missing from him. This day. Lord Shazherqing, there is a country that hopes to establish a cooperative relationship with us. But the other party also gave us a task first, asking to help them settle the civil unrest. Anna came over and reported to Shazherqing. Oh, I don't know which country this is, so conscious. Shazherqing thought it was quite interesting when she heard it, so she couldn't help but ask. It seems to be an island not far from us. What is it called? What is it called? A magnetic island. Oh, by the way, it is called Drum Island. I heard that it is an island that has been in winter all year round. It is very cold. Now it is ruled by a man named Wapple, and the people's life is miserable. The person who made the request to us is the captain of the guard team on Drum Island. What is his name? Speaking of the name, Anna suddenly stopped again, frowned, her eyes were rolling, and she quickly recalled it in her head. Dalton, that's right. Shajur-Ching thought for a while. Drum Island, the captain of the guard team, and only Dalton who agreed with these two identities. Yes, that's him. Lord Naz knows him. Hearing Shajur-Ching say Dalton's name, Anna asked in surprise. I don't know, I just heard about his name. This Dalton, who later became the new king of the Drum Island Kingdom in the original book, and led the Drum Kingdom to become a world government alliance country, is a very talented person. Natsu-sama, do you want to agree to his request? Anna looked at Shajur-Ching and asked for his opinion. Yes, it is a good place, and it will be beneficial to me in the future. Drum Island has a very powerful old monster there. He wanted to take this opportunity to talk to that old monster. If he could abduct her apprentice, it would be perfect. Let Bentham and Zoro come with me, the rest have worked hard for the past half-month. Shajur-Ching said to Anna. Why don't you take me with you? Does Lord Natsu despise me now? When she heard that Shajur-Ching was going to Drum Island, Anna was still very happy, which meant that she could go to sea with Shajur-Ching. Who knows? Shajur-Ching shattered the hope in her heart with a single word. Chapter 224 Spade Pirates. What are you talking about, sister? You are now the second in command of the Summer Chamber of Commerce, and your identity is extremely important. If you leave, Didia, if Gills and the others have something to approve, who will they turn to? Who can take responsibility? I left at the same time as you. I'm afraid that the Summer Chamber of Commerce will directly mess up. Shajur-Ching said helplessly. Is this really the case, instead of despising me? Hearing Shajur-Ching's words, Anna asked in disbelief. Sure, would I lie to you about this kind of thing? Hearing this, Shajur-Ching nodded again. After receiving Shajur-Ching's explanation, Anna smiled. Then watched Shajur-Ching, Bentham, Zoro and the others leave Mock Town and head to Drum Island. On the only way for Shajur-Ching to go to the magnetic Drum Island, a pirate ship with a black background of hearts, a smiley face, and a sad face, pirate flag on its skull is being run after it. Captain, it's over, you're going to be caught up. You eat that guy's devil fruit, he won't let you go. A man who didn't seem to be a strong man said to the freckled young man with a calm face on the bow. Ha ha ha, don't worry, Jajiba, nothing will happen. It's not just a bully Eugene, the bounty is only 280 million Bailey. The freckled young man at the bow was not worried at all, and said calmly. It's none other than the Portgas. Ace of the 35 million Bailey's bounty not long after going to sea. And behind this young man's ship, isn't the pirate group chasing after the tyrannical tiger Eugene that Shajur-Ching once met in the Kukuli Sea? Bastard, you dare to steal the burning fruit that I bought with all my savings, I will never forgive you. Tyrant tiger Eugene was full of anger, and even looked at the ship in front of him, roaring and shouting. Shoot me! Eugene ordered to the men behind him. Yes, boss. The pirates behind Eugene heard the words and immediately aimed their gun barrels at the ship of the Spade Pirates. It was just a few roaring cannonballs that slammed into the ship of the Spade Pirates. And at the moment of hitting, the explosion exploded. Boom! 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 The power of this cannonball blast is extraordinary. A huge wave suddenly set off on the sea around the Spade Pirates, flapping the ship with a rumbling sound. Many crew members were directly shaken to the ground, and the ship was completely deviated from the initial channel by this wave. And the tyrant, Eugene, took advantage of this opportunity to suddenly pull in the distance from Ace and the others. Captain, it's no good, we deviate from the course. Moreover, the waves caused by the cannonball are too large, which has affected us to continue going. The helmsman looked at Ace in the bow, and his tone had become extremely anxious. Dangerous, the bully Eugene has caught up, and they have launched a new round of attacks on us. At this moment, another person exclaimed in exclamation. Boom bang bang. The cannonballs I saw attacked like a torrential rain, exuding a terrifying aura, to bury them all on this vast sea. It's over. Facing the falling cannonballs, a desperate voice suddenly sounded on the ship of the Spade Pirates. Some people even ran around in panic. This is not something that people like them can deal with. Chapter 225. What a genius. If this is on land, they can still rely on their own abilities to dodge and protect themselves. But at sea, it's all over. Hey, how can I let you hurt my friends like this? They're my most important people, and I'm going to be One Piece, King of Pirates, and I'm not going to stop here. At this critical juncture, Ace, who has always been leisurely, finally took action. Fire Fist. Hot flames erupted from his body, and then the flames turned into a huge fist and attacked away. Boom bang bang. After the shells hit the flames, they all exploded immediately, shaking the entire air. Fire Fist still spared no effort to continue rushing towards Eugene the Tyrant Tiger. HMPH, this kind of soft fist wants to show off its power. Boy, do you really think you are the Hunter of Thunder? Unfortunately, you don't have that ability. Since Tyrant Tiger Eugene can become the overlord of the Kukuli Sea area, his strength is naturally tyrannical. In the face of this blow, he pulled out the big knife around his waist and tore it apart tyrannically. Then, take another step, and rush towards Ace like an arrow from the string. What, it was torn apart like this. Seeing that his fire fist was torn apart by Eugene, the bully tiger, Ace couldn't help but startled. In the face of Eugene, who was rushing over again, he did not touch him head-on, and hurriedly stepped back. Then, another fire fist blasted out, making the air roar. Go away. Facing the fire fist that struck again, Eugene roared and broke out a sound wave that directly shattered the fire fist and knocked Ace out. You dare to rob my devil fruit even at this level, kid, you're not too timid. A terrifying murderous intent burst out in Eugene's eyes, and he deceived himself. His huge figure completely shrouded Ace, and the big knife in his hand fell fiercely. He wanted to kill Ace here to relieve the hatred in his heart. Yang Yan. How could Ace let the tyrant tiger Eugene come close, and shoot a pillar of fire from the palm of his hand to fight it? Boom. This knife of tyrant tiger Eugene was actually blocked, and Eugene was also shaken back out. Excellent, Captain. Seeing this, the members of the Spade Pirates couldn't help cheering. Asshole. Eugene couldn't help roaring angrily. A rookie like Ace who just made his debut can show such a powerful strength after getting the burning fruit. If you let him eat it, wouldn't it be able to exert more powerful power? But now, this strength that should belong to him has been robbed by Ace. This hatred for stealing power is absolutely unforgivable. Today, I must kill you. Die, kid. Tiger stabs. Eugene shouted angrily again, and the hole sprinted like a sharp sword. Yang Yan. Seeing this, Ace plans to use the same trick against Eugene again. But, PFF'd. When the pillar of fire touched Eugene's blade, it was torn apart in an instant. Then, Eugene's big knife pierced Ace's chest directly before Ace had time to react. Captain. Looking at this scene, the members of the Spade Pirates couldn't help exclaiming, being pierced through the chest, that was a terrible thing. Fire Fist. But what is surprising is that Ace didn't do anything at all, and once again threw a more condensed flaming fist, forcing Eugene to retreat. Chapter 226. Shajir is here. Okay, you guy is really a genius. You have mastered elementalization only after you have acquired so much kung fu. However, don't think that with elementalization, you can save your life. Eugene's grin was full of hideousness, and hockey was wrapped around the knife. Then, he sprinted towards Ace again, and slashed down. Fire Fist. Facing Eugene, who was rushing over again, Ace burst into flames and broke through the air, turning into a fire fist to fight off. Boom. But there is no doubt that this fire fist was still torn apart by Eugene with one knife, and he continued to bully Ace. Hey. I don't know why, Ace felt a strong sense of crisis on this knife, so he quickly dodged away, instead of using the elementalization he just mastered to fight. Little devil, do you think you can dodge it? But before Ace hit the ground, Eugene's big knife slashed horizontally again. What? Looking at the big sword that was already in front of him, Ace couldn't help shrinking his pupils. People are in the air, there is no way to dodge. My life is over, Ace thought in his heart. Die. Seeing Ace's pupils shrank into needles instantly, Eugene was excited. But just as his sword was about to fall, a voice stopped him. Give me a face and let him go. At the same time as the voice came, Eugene's broadsword was also blocked, and there was already one more person in front of him. You are Thunder Hunter. Hi. After seeing the face of the person who came, Eugene couldn't help but take a deep breath, and the whole person immediately shivered. Long time no see, Tyrant Tiger Eugene, I'm not staying in the Kukuli waters, why are you suddenly chasing and killing new pirates? Of course, it was none other than Shazher Ching who saved Ace. He stole my burning fruit, how can you make me willing? Hearing this, Tyrant Tiger Eugene couldn't help clenching his fists and said very unwillingly. Although he was angry, he did not dare to be presumptuous in front of Shazher Ching. This is someone who can directly kill him. Oh, I already ate the yaki fruit. It's interesting. Hearing this, Shazher Ching couldn't help showing a hint of surprise. Tell me, how much Bailey did you use to get it? I'll pay you back, and that's the end of the matter. Shazher Ching looked at Eugene, the Tyrant Tiger, and said with a flat face. Really, you compensate me? Hearing Shazher Ching's words, Tyrant Tiger Eugene couldn't help but be full of disbelief, and he even suspected that he had heard it wrong. Am I going to come here specifically to find you happy? Shazher Ching cast a glance at Eugene and said indifferently. Yes, this fruit I spent a total of 700 million, you give 5,500 million. Tyrant Tiger Eugene didn't dare to look at Shazher Ching's face, he stammered. What a low voice, and the arrogance just now, it doesn't look like a person at all. Although I know you're false, but it's worth it, 700 million is 700 million. Shazher Ching turned the bully Eugene away, and then lightly patted Eugene on the shoulder, causing him to shudder violently. Then, he called Anna and explained the matter to her. Go ahead, go to Mock Town to get the money, and after you get it, go back to the Kukuri Sea area for me. If you dare to make a mistake, don't blame me for coming to the door to talk to you in person. Hearing this, Eugene nodded quickly, as fast as a chicken pecking at rice, for fear that if Shazher Ching was slower, he would regret it. Chapter 227 Develop well. Then, he left as if running away. He was extremely surprised and said happily, I didn't expect this new pirate to have a relationship with the Thunder Hunter. It's really surprising news. Fortunately, he didn't get seriously injured, otherwise, I'm afraid I'll be doomed today. When Eugene left, Shazher Ching also turned to look at Ace and the others. Correspondingly, Ace and the others also looked at Shazher Ching. After all, who is Shazher Ching? One of Shichibukai, the big pirate with a bounty of nearly 900 million. In the first half of the Great Route, where the 300 million bounty is already incredible, what is the concept of 900 million? That represents the power of despair. However, is this the power of Shichibukai? A strong man like Eugene, the bully tiger, is as well behaved as a little cat, and he doesn't dare to make a fool of himself. The people behind Ace looked at Shazher Ching and thought in their hearts. This is so majestic. Be a pirate, that's how it should be. Portgas. D. Ace, first meeting. Shazher Ching smiled and looked at Ace with a vigilant look in front of him. In a flat tone, he said something that made Ace stunned. How did you know that? This last name. Aston was vigilant like a little leopard, ready to rush over to attack at any time. Hee hee, don't panic, I have no ill will towards you. Seeing this, Shajurching couldn't help issue. His eyes swept over his partner, and said, "If you want to break into the sea, the current lineup is not enough." What the hell are you trying to say? Although Ace was grateful to Shajurching for saving his life, when he revealed his identity, he was enough to be vigilant about Shajurching. "I just happened to be passing by. Don't think about it. You are not worth my special trip to rescue. As for what I want to say, probably these." Shajurching looked positive and said, "The sea is very wide, go and see more. Your fruit is good, develop it well, but you can't rely too much on the fruit, and you should also pay attention to other abilities." After speaking, Shajurching thought for a while, and after there was nothing missing, he turned around and waved to Ace and the others, and said, "That's it, goodbye." As he said that, when he was about to leave, he suddenly remembered something and said, "Hide your identity well. You should know how much your identity will cause waves in the sea, and what kind of crisis you will get yourself into. I can save you this time, but not the next time." After speaking, he left without looking back. How does this guy know me so well, and why is he helping me out? What is he plotting? Ace didn't believe that Shajurching just came to help him out of the siege, and would help him out of the siege so unconditionally and aimlessly. How can there be such a good thing? The most important thing is that he actually knows his surname, which he has never told anyone. The only people who know this secret are him and Garp. He was very curious. How did Shajurching know? Is he here for my identity? Is he my father's crew? Ace wondered in his heart. And the pirate behind Ace also looked at Ace in surprise. Listening to Shajurching's words just now, Ace's life experience does not seem to be simple. But after seeing that Ace didn't want to answer, they didn't plan to ask too much. Sometimes, knowing too much is not good. It's better to keep a little secret for each. Chapter 228. Do you want to rebel? Lord Natsu, why do you want to save him? This is just an ordinary newcomer. Bentham asked Shajurching, full of puzzlement. Zoro beside him had the same doubts in his eyes, but because of his character, he was destined not to ask. Hee, you will know later. I can only say, I will have a good relationship with him. Wen Yan, Shajurching mysterious issue, did not answer Bentham. Okay. After getting such a specious answer, Bentham could only resign helplessly. Aboard the Spade Pirates. Captain, you know the Thunder Hunter, that's amazing. The people from the Spade Pirates looked at Ace and said with admiration. They don't need to ask about the secret of their life experience, but it doesn't affect their admiration for Ace. No, I don't know him, but he seems to know me well. But Ace made these people's happy faces stop in one sentence. Don't know. Why would a strong man like the Thunder Hunter personally rescue you, Captain? Everyone in the Spade Pirates was immediately stunned. I don't know either. Forget it. I don't care so much. I'll be fine. When I master the fruit ability, we will definitely get along very well. Since he doesn't understand, Ace doesn't plan to spend too much energy on this matter. Drum Island. Why hasn't the Thunder Hunter come yet? Isn't he coming? In front of the port of Drum Island, Dalton, the captain of the guard team of Drum Kingdom, looked at the still empty sea and said anxiously. Captain Dalton, what are you doing here alone? Your recent whereabouts are very strange. At this moment, a middle-aged man with a gloomy eyes appeared behind Dalton, and said in a dark way. Minister Wright, why are you here? Dalton couldn't help being surprised when he heard the words, and then turned around and said with a respectful look. Captain Dalton, because your recent whereabouts are very strange, I decided to temporarily imprison you, and your position will be led by me temporarily. Someone, tied up and put in jail. After the Right Minister finished speaking, he did not give Dalton the slightest chance to refute, so he ordered someone to control Dalton without giving any explanation at all, and did not give Dalton the slightest chance to resist. Minister Wright, you have no right to tie me up. What do you want to do? Do you want to rebel? Dalton roared at the Right Minister. His status is the same as that of the minister on the right, and neither of them can touch anyone else, only the king's order must be requested. HMPH, rebel. I think it's you. Let me tell you the truth. I have caught your accomplice, and he has done everything. It's unbelievable that the dignified captain of the guard is actually the mastermind behind the rebel army. You almost succeeded. Hurry up and take him away and execute him immediately. Never let him disturb the Drum Kingdom. The Minister of Right shouted. After the words fell, Dalton suddenly felt that he became extremely weak, and saw that his hands were bound by chains with sea stone. Asshole! Dalton suddenly made an unwilling roar, but this voice was so weak. He only felt that the current self, as if he had been emptied of all his strength, was so weak that he couldn't even stand. Dare we not arrive? The employer is already in danger of life. This is not acceptable. At this moment, a very young voice suddenly came from the sea behind Dalton and them. Chapter 229. I want you to regret it. Who is it? The sudden sound shocked the minister right, and he immediately turned around and looked at it angrily. But there was only a young man who was rushing across the sea like a cheetah. The vast sea was under his feet, as if walking on the ground, without any obstacles. And on the sea not far behind him, a ship with the Golden Sun pirate flag on a black background is also coming quickly. That's Thunder Hunter's ship. Minister Wright didn't see Shazher Ching's face clearly, but he saw the pirate flag clearly, and he suddenly let out a panicked exclamation. Then, he reacted instantly, pointed at Dalton and shouted angrily, "Bastard, you dare to collude with pirates! Quick, execute him immediately, don't let him do bad things to me." The Minister of the Right has a good ability to change on the spot, and he can see the main contradiction of the matter at once, to solve Dalton. Hearing this, the armored soldier who controlled Dalton immediately said, "Captain Dalton, I'm sorry," and the long knife in his hand pierced Dalton's heart brazenly. "Die!" They shouted angrily, and the long knife was about to pierce Dalton's heart. "How could it be possible for you to succeed? Isn't that smashing my signboard?" When Shazher Ching saw Vivi Isho, she glared angrily, and Conqueror Haki burst out. Om! The color of the square changed, and the soldiers, including the right minister, all fell unconscious in an instant. Dalton couldn't help but snorted, barely holding on and not falling down. PFF'd. Dalton saw a cold light flashing in front of him, and then the feeling of weakness slowly disappeared. Looking at this, your plans seem to have leaked, Captain Dalton. Shazher Ching looked at the steady and serious man in front of him and said jokingly. Since it's here, let's get started. Dalton didn't intend to talk nonsense with Shazher Ching at all, and immediately turned around and walked towards the inside of the castle. I am so impatient. After Shazher Ching left a shadow clone to show Bentham and Zoro the way, he followed. But not long after they left, they were surrounded by a large army. Dalton, you bastard dared to betray me and plan to subvert my kingdom, I won't let you go. Behind this army, suddenly appeared a fat, ugly man with dark purple hair, a huge mouth, and a cylindrical tin plate attached to his chin. Of course, this man is none other than the king of the Drum Kingdom, the fruit-tuning power, Wapol. Shazher Ching's target to kill this time. Wapol is a selfish tyrant. Those who give priority to themselves and often set some laws and regulations that benefit themselves regardless of the life and death of the people can be described as extremely bad. The most outrageous thing is that he also created the inhumane decree of hunting doctor, which made the Drum Kingdom, which was once known as a medical power, rapidly decline. Other misdeeds are even more difficult to describe. It's really a miracle that his subordinates haven't lost their minds until now. Come on, arrest all his accomplices and bury them with him. Dalton, I want you to regret betraying me forever. Wapol said suddenly and ruthlessly, and then issued an attack order. Open the cannon and blast him Dalton into slag. I want everyone to see the end of betraying me. Chapter 230. Swallow the fruit. Not good. Hearing that Wapol was going to be detrimental to his partner, Dalton's expression changed and he panicked. Don't worry, Bentham, Zoro, you and Dalton are going to save their buddies, I'll leave it to me here. With a calm expression on her face, Shajur-Ching said to Bentham and Zoro who had already arrived. Yes, Natsu-sama. The two immediately took orders. Dalton glanced at Shajur-Ching, and then led the way with confidence. In this situation, he knew in his heart that it would definitely not be difficult for Shajur-Ching. Isn't that Shichibukai Thunder Hunter? Why is he here? After Dalton left, the blocked Shajur-Ching appeared in front of everyone, and the ministers on the city wall suddenly widened their eyes in astonishment. Thunder Hunter, why are you here? Wapol was shocked when he saw Shajur-Ching, and then asked in a very panicked tone. Isn't it obvious why I'm here? Came for money, of course, to help someone overthrow tyranny. Shajur-Ching looked at Wapol and replied with a relaxed hug. Hearing Shajur-Ching's answer, Wapol and the other ministers couldn't help but change in shock. Overthrow tyranny. Everyone can figure out who his target is with their toes. Thunder Hunter, I tell you don't mess around. I am a king of a country, you can't move me. Wapol was too scared to speak. Oh, then please give me a reason not to move you. Now in this drum kingdom, I hope you will step down as soon as possible. Shajur-Ching fiddled with his fingers, but his tone was full of murderous intent. Asshole, do you really think I'm easy to bully? Shoot me and shoot him. I don't believe you're faster than a bullet. Wapol drank suddenly, although still stuttering, but with a tone of breaking the boat. Do you think I'll give you that chance? Shajur-Ching cast a glance at Wapol. Conqueror Haki raged out. Om. The air trembled, and the colors in the four directions instantly returned to black and white. Then, nearly 1,000 soldiers with guns fell down. That is, many ministers on the city wall fell unconscious. Wapol was also half kneeling on the ground. His eyes were so horrified that he couldn't stand up at all. He said in his heart, damn, how can be so strong? There is no resistance at all. Actually, I'm here for another purpose. Shajur-Ching appeared in front of Wapol with a flash of lightning, but before Wapol asked what it was, the fire in Shajur-Ching's hand pierced his chest directly from behind. I saw your devil fruit. Go to hell to make atonement. Make atonement for the doctors and civilians who were persecuted by you. This knife, steady and accurate, directly tore Wapol's heart. Asshole. Wapol can't believe he died so easily. Swallow the fruit, come on, be mine. Shajur-Ching took out an apple from his chest and placed it on Wapol's fallen corpse. According to the devil fruit transfer rules, as long as the ability person just died, take out a corresponding type of fruit and put it on the ability person. Then, the devil fruit will be reincarnated using this fruit as a medium. The moment the apple was put on it, it changed color, and then the shape, texture, and size began to change. After a while, it turned into a gray fruit. That is exactly what Shajur-Ching wanted to swallow the fruit. Chapter 231 My purpose is not you. He took the tuntun fruit in his hand and looked at it carefully, and then packed it in a very ordinary bag. Looks like my mission is done. Shajur-Ching tightened the big hairy robe on his body, and rushed directly to the castle and sat down. I don't know how long it will take you. It was at this time that a group of armored soldiers dressed as guards suddenly rushed under the castle. Shajur-Ching looked at this team of soldiers, and suddenly grinned, revealing a playful smile. Then, before the leader could speak, Shajur-Ching spoke. Your king is dead, surrender and put down your weapons and accept the adaptation. This sentence, Shajur-Ching just said that. He didn't take it seriously at all, and he didn't think these people would do it. But, bang, bang, bang. This sudden sound of weapons landing one after another made Shajur-Ching a little stunned. He saw that group of people actually put down their weapons and looked like they were waiting to be dealt with. This Wapol, how unpopular you are, and no one avenged you. Shajur-Ching glanced at Wapol's body and said jokingly. Boom. 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 There was a sudden sound of collision not far away, as well as the sound of guns attacking. If you really think about the Drum Kingdom and want to atone for the crimes you committed involuntarily in the past, then bring the news of Wapple's death and let the Drum Kingdom restore its former peace as soon as possible. Shajirching is only holding the mentality of trying it out. He has no idea whether these people will execute it. But right away, he knew. The leader who I saw shouted, "All armed, follow me to stop the turmoil and restore peace." After that, I told them to quickly rearm, and after the leader bowed to Shajirching, they left quickly. "Thank me. What's the situation?" Shajirching didn't understand this operation anyway. He just said a few jokes, thank him for what he did. Half an hour later, the sound of fighting and shouting gradually weakened, and the smell of gunpowder smoke that filled the sky above the Drum Kingdom also alleviated Vivi. Shajirching saw this situation. He knew that Dalton should have succeeded. 10 minutes later, Dalton, who had some injuries, appeared in front of Shajirching. "Thank you, Your Excellency the Hunter of Thunder. I will personally deliver the remuneration on another day. If there is nothing else, please leave." Dalton looked at Shajirching, and there was already the meaning of expelling guests in his tone. It is not normal for a pirate to stay in the kingdom for a long time, and it is not conducive to the stabilization of the Drum Kingdom that has just stabilized, and to restore stability. "Well, don't be so excited. I came to your Drum Kingdom, not just to help you overthrow Dalton." Shajirching waved his hand, but what he said made Dalton's color change suddenly, and he immediately became vigilant. "What else do you want? Are you going to loot the island?" Dalton looked at Shajirching fiercely. "Don't worry, I won't plunder your Drum Kingdom. After all, there is nothing in your place worth plundering. The purpose of my coming here is for your famous doctor, Dr. Kurha. An LT.P. and GT. Shajirching got down from the castle, glanced at Bentham and Zoro, and said, let's go to Sagu Mountain. Chapter 232. Please come out. After that, I didn't care how Dalton's face changed, he just left. At the end, he may have thought of something again, and said to Dalton, I hope you have settled the Drum Kingdom when I come down. In that case, I can sign a cooperation agreement with you. After he finished speaking, he still didn't give Dalton a chance to reply, so he left directly. Meanwhile, in a building on Magnetic Drum Mountain. Here is an amazing person. I don't know what the purpose of his visit is. A certain very fashionably dressed, blonde hair, but an old wrinkled old woman looked in a certain direction and said. This old woman is the goal of Shajirching and the others this time. Dr. Kurha. I hope I didn't come here looking for something, otherwise, the Drum Kingdom would be really dangerous. Kurha was carrying a bottle of wine, and after taking a few sips, he murmured. But don't look at her appearance and think she is not very old. In fact, he is 137 years old. It was Whitebeard in front of him, it was all grandchildren. As expected of Sagu Mountain, it really isn't that easy to climb. Shajirching grabbed Bentham and Zoro, and directly used the method of chakra absorption all the way, and easily boarded. I have to say, that snow rabbit is really difficult to deal with. In this vast snow field, being besieged by them is really a death thing. Shajirching patted off some snow shavings on her body and said with a pretense of difficulty. Hee, Natsu-sama, you really know how to joke. Hearing this, Bentham and Zoro looked at each other, and then both showed a very weird smile. And somewhere down the hill. How could it be possible to knock out all the snow rabbits? Is this the strength of Shichibukai? It's rude and simple enough, all the obstacles in the way are cleared, in the end it's the Thunder Hunter, enough hockey. The soldiers of the Drum Kingdom looked at the scene in front of them, and their eyes were full of amazement and emotion. But think about it, isn't Shajirching the same when he played against Wapple? Bring down all who stand in your way. It really lives in a secluded enough place, worthy of a person who has lived for more than 100 years, and his temper is really a bit weird. Shajirching stood in front of the castle where Clea lived, showing a touch of appreciation, and then said with emotion. Dr. Kurha, the junior Naz, come to visit, please forgive me." After saying that, Shajurching went up the stairs and wanted to open the door. But the door was opened at this moment. "Thunder Hunter, why did you come here to find my old wife from thousands of miles away?" After all, the person who came was a pirate of Shajurching's level, and Kurha didn't dare to be too cold, and completely ignored it. Of course, even if she came to meet her at gate of opening in person, there was no sign of welcome on her face. "If there are no patients, just come to chat with me, I think it's free." Kurha didn't want to chat with Shajurching. She was a doctor, and she hoped that all those who came to find her came for treatment. "My purpose is very simple, please come out and benefit more people." Shajurching, Isho, said, "Senior Kurha also knows that one of the important projects of my summer business meeting is medicine. I think if Kurha Senpai joins, the medicine of my summer chamber of commerce will definitely benefit more civilians and save them from a lot of pain." Chapter 233 Win the Chopper. Is this really the case? Thunder Hunter, the old lady doesn't know much, but she still knows that as a businessman, you can never have such a simple ideal. He didn't believe what Shajurching said to benefit the common people. "Isn't my goal already stated? Please come out of the mountain." Of course, I also have a small personal wish, that is, I hope that the people around me can get the most timely treatment. Being refuted by Kurha, Shajurching was not annoyed. She still said with a smile on her face, "HMPH, you really look like a virtuous kid. Okay, come in and tell me." Kurha turned and walked towards the house, and Shajurching immediately followed after seeing this. He knew that this negotiation was a drama. "I'm sorry, I'm used to this kind of seclusion. Your idea of asking me to come out may not come true. I never thought that when I entered the house and came to Shajurching, I was rejected by Clea. Hehe, if you have an apprentice, that's the same." Shajurching came here for only one purpose, either to invite Kurha to come out, or to invite her apprentice, Tony Chopper to come out. If Kurha doesn't want to, Chopper should be willing. After all, he was just a child, eager to see the scenery outside the Drum Island. "Your real purpose is here. Okay, if Chopper wants to, I have no problem." Kurha also had an indifferent expression on her face, picked up the wine bottle, and gulped a few more sips of wine. "Chopper, do you want to go out to sea with me to see the beautiful scenery outside?" Shajurching immediately looked at the door behind Kurha, timidly looked at their reindeer, and invited with a smile. But what Shajurching got was silence. Chopper retracted his head and disappeared behind the door. Behind the door. How could someone invite a monster out to sea? Impossible, Chopper, don't fantasize about it. Chopper squatted on the ground and said with a face full of self-doubt. "How could you be a monster? Chopper, I need your strength, go out to sea with me." But at this moment, a voice suddenly sounded in his ear. Chopper couldn't help but look up, only to see Shajurching looking at Chopper sincerely. Aren't you afraid of me? I'm a monster, a talking reindeer monster." Chopper looked at Shajurching tentatively and asked. "Ha ha ha, I've even seen zombies, and I'm not afraid. Do you think I'll be afraid of you?" After hearing this, Shajurching couldn't help laughing. But when Chopper heard it, his whole body exploded, and he shouted in horror, "Zombie!" He went straight to Shajurching. "Go to sea with me, you can see more interesting things. Chopper, let's go." Shajurching picked up the chopper and prepared to leave with a smile on his face. "No, I can't leave you, I have to take care of Dr. Kurha." Hearing this, Chopper suddenly broke free from Shajurching's embrace and said with a struggling expression, "That's a pity." Hearing this, Shajurching shook his head with a pity face and said, "Don't you want to use your medical skills to save more people?" "I bet, Dr. Kurha." She still. Hearing this, Chopper's body trembled, and his eyes burst into tears. He couldn't help but struggle to look at Kurha. Chapter 234 Winning Success. Shajurching's words are very heartwarming. Shajurching is the third person besides Sharulik and Kurha who has looked at him with normal eyes over the years, not treating him as a monster at all. For this, he is very grateful to Shajurching. If there was no other reason, he would have promised Shajurching right away. After all, he also wants to go to the sea outside to see how wonderful this world is, and is it as colorful as his master Sharulik said. However, Kurha still needs his company. If he leaves, Kurha will be alone and no one will take care of him. He really can't decide, it's too difficult. Boom. At this moment, a big hole suddenly exploded on the floor in front of Chopper, which startled Chopper. I saw Kurha holding a gun, pointed at Chopper, and said coldly, "I don't need your care yet. If you have a dream, you must realize it. Go, take the expectation of your quack master Sharulik, and go to the sea. I no longer welcome you here, get out of here." Dr. Kurha. Hearing this, Chopper cried even more sadly. He wanted to step forward, but Kurha pulled the trigger without hesitation, blasting the board in front of Chopper. "Go away." With that said, he pulled the trigger again, another shot, and forced Chopper back. Dr. Kurha. Chopper shouted in grief. He wanted to step forward again, but he was still greeted by a bullet. Kurha's resolute attitude is simply a feeling of wanting to immediately sweep Chopper out of the door. "Chopper, let's go. It's the same when you come back. At that time, Dr. Clea will definitely be proud of you, and your master Sharulik will be happy in the spirit of heaven." Shajurching picked up Chopper and rushed out of the castle. "Dr. Kurha, I've been thankful to you for taking care of me over the years. When I return from my studies, I will definitely serve you again." After being led out of the castle, Chopper suddenly broke free again. Then, he knelt down in Kurha's direction a few times, and then he got up and turned into a huge reindeer, came up with the three of Shajurching, and disappeared into the snow without looking back. He was afraid that if he hesitated again, he would not want to leave. "Stinky boy, you have to come back early." In the castle, Kurha looked at Chopper who was leaving and couldn't help but blushed. "Years have passed, and no one knows when we will meet again." Chopper successfully recruited. The mission of this trip is completed. I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. In the process of going down the mountain, Shamuyang looked at Chopper who was still sad, but he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. His main purpose this time is to recruit Chopper. As for helping Dalton put down the rebellion, that's all in addition. Drum King's Palace. When Natsumi Yang arrived here, everything was almost settled. The candidate for the new king, unsurprisingly, fell on Dalton. "Congratulations, congratulations, I didn't expect that you will become a king in a blink of an eye." Shajurching sincerely congratulates Dalton. "You, welcome." People are in good spirits at happy events. Even Dalton, who is very hostile to Shajurching, can't show a bad face to Shajurching at this moment. To be able to recruit Clea Senpai's apprentice, amazing. As expected of a Thunder Hunter, his skills are really superb. Dalton sighed sincerely, and his eyes were full of admiration. Chapter 435 Direction, New World. After all, he wanted to invite Chopper down the mountain, not once or twice. But there was absolutely no response from Kurha. "Ha ha ha, some tricks are not worth mentioning." Shajurching heard Isho, and then his expression suddenly became serious, and said, "According to the content negotiated in advance, the Drum Kingdom will establish a friendly and cooperative relationship with our Summer Chamber of Commerce. King Dalton, can we start now?" Another reason for Natsumi's promise to help Dalton overthrow Wapple's tyranny is to establish a cooperative relationship with the Drum Kingdom. "Then sign it now. I have heard about your Chamber of Commerce for a long time, and I have a good reputation. I have long wanted to establish a cooperative relationship with you, but I have been suffering from no chance. Now that the opportunity has come, I will definitely not let it go. In the future, I will ask President Nachi for more advice." Dalton agreed, but his tone was completely different from when he was the captain of the guard. In this regard, Shamuyang can only sigh. to see people, to talk to ghosts, this is the necessary quality of an excellent politician. Immediately, the two held a friendly negotiation on the branch of the Summer Chamber of Commerce in the Drum Kingdom, and finally reached a negotiation and established a cooperative relationship. Since then, we have been blessed by the Summer Chamber of Commerce, and it feels a little unreal to think about it now. All of this has actually come true. But a few hours ago, the country was still gloomy and gloomy. Dalton may be in a really good mood, so he sighed at Sha Muyang. Ha ha ha, that's of course, after all, it's a matter of human beings, and a strong man like Dalton is in charge, what else is there that we can't solve? Sha Zhiqing also touted a sentence, which made Dalton suddenly feel a little overwhelmed. The feeling of being touted by Sha Zhiqing is really cool. The person in charge of the relevant branch, I will deliver it within a week, and in the future, please give me more advice. Sha Zhiqing stood on the ship and said to Dalton. Ha ha ha, definitely. Hearing this, Dalton couldn't help laughing out loud, and he readily agreed. Then I'll say goodbye. After all, Sha Zhiqing and his party left like this, and then quickly disappeared on the sea level. On the ship. Chopper, how is it? The sea is beautiful. After leaving the winter island of Magnetic Drum Island, Sha Zhiqing and the three immediately took off their big sweaters, put on very refreshing big pants, and lay on the deck to enjoy the coolness. Is this the sea? It's really beautiful, the sea breeze is so comfortable. Chopper lay on the deck and said with great enjoyment. Ha ha ha, this is just the beginning, there will be more interesting things waiting for you to discover in the future, Chopper, come on. Encouragement and comfort, although Sha Zhiqing is not very familiar with this kind of thing, but it is not smeared and ignorant. At least, there is no problem in comforting Chopper's existence. Zoro, let's go to the new world. Sha Zhiqing suddenly said to Zoro, who was at the helm, with a detailed road map in front of Zoro. He was not afraid that Zoro would deviate from the course. Isn't it going back? Natsu-sama, why is it suddenly like a new world? Bentham jumped close and asked with a puzzled look. Chapter 236 Target, Tezzolo. Hee, we still have a companion who didn't come in the new world, we should bring him back now. Sha Zhiqing's mouth curled into a playful smile and said. This smile made Bentham feel a chill all over his body. Looks like that companion, the next life will not be very easy. Bentham knew very well that as soon as Sha Zhiqing's smile appeared, someone would definitely be unlucky. Who is it, so unlucky to be targeted by Lord Naz? Bentham thought in his heart. That's when Bentham thought so. In the new world, on an incomparably luxurious cruise ship, in a room full of feasting lights, a man with a rebellious face suddenly shuddered. The sudden arrival of this feeling is really alarming. It seems that the man is coming. He is the only one who will make me have this ominous premonition. This man with a rebellious face put down the wine glass in his hand. Vivi lost his eyes, and said with a dignified expression. However, what will happen? I'm looking forward to it. After all, Tezzolo, are not someone to be bullied. Yes, this rebellious man is exactly Tezzolo, known as the Going Emperor. A rich and oily existence. Even Tenryubito is his guest at the banquet. With this relationship, his status is quite detached. It can even be said that it is black and white, and it mixes quite well. Going City, on the sea nearby. Going City, it's so beautiful. What a coveted place for lantern fans. Sha Zhiqing looked at the colorful Going City ships and showed a very emotional expression. In front of this Going City, the three of them looked like a country bumpkin. Tezzolo, here I am, I hope you are ready to welcome us. Sha Zhiqing looked at the going powder scattered all over the sky, and a layer of lightning armor was covering her body, isolating the gold powder. This thing will kill you. Just as Sha Zhiqing and the others entered the sea near Going City, Tezzolo sensed it. It's finally here, and I'm starting to get a little curious about what's going to happen next. Through those gold powders, Tezzolo knew in an instant that Sha Zhiqing and the others had arrived. The golden powder scattered all over the sky is all his eyes and ears. The entire city of Going was completely shrouded under his surveillance, and no one could escape his surveillance. I've become more and more cautious when I use the lightning armor to isolate my gold powder. Tezzolo shook the red wine glass in his hand, and the corner of his mouth evoked a smile of anticipation. Guru, Lord Naz, isn't our goal this time the Going Emperor Tesoro in Going City? Are you really serious? It wasn't until he arrived at Going City that Bentham realized that Shajurching's goal this time was actually Tezzolo, the controller of Going City. He couldn't help being terribly startled. This is too stupid. It's a little crazy too. That is the Going Emperor, the famous ruthless man in the black and white way, the Going Emperor Tesoro. This lord, it doesn't seem that they can provoke them now. Fighting with this master, no matter whether you win or lose, it seems that Marine Admiral will be recruited. At that time, it was their doomsday. Chapter 237. Don't deceive people too much. Hee hee, why are you panicking? Since I dare to appear here, I must be sure. Seeing Bentham's flustered appearance, Shajurching couldn't help but issue, calm. Really, don't lie to the slave family. Bentham heard that Shajurching was so confident, he couldn't help but say with some doubts. Why, you dare to doubt your superior's ability? This is not a normal thing, Bentham, what you do is very dangerous. Shajurching cast a serious glance at Bentham, so scared that he suddenly shivered and retreated, no longer dared to question Shajurching. Tesoro, since you're here, come out. Hide. This shouldn't be who you are. Shajurching suddenly looked at a corner above him and said in a leisurely manner. He, as expected of the Thunder Hunter, it's really amazing, I've hidden it so deeply, yet you still discovered it, amazing. The next moment, Tezzolo appeared in front of Shajurching and the others as an aristocratic son, with the red wine glass in his hand swaying gently, his manner was elegant and comfortable. My city of Going can be visited by the Thunder Hunter, it is really bright. Tezzolo had a courtesan tone, and what he said was extremely polite. Then I would like to congratulate you in advance for having a good time here and having a good time. Your happiness is the greatest support for me. Tezzolo was really angry with the tone of a qualified courtesan, and what he said made people feel so comfortable. Okay, you and I don't need to talk about those falsehoods. What is the purpose of my coming here today? I think you should be very clear in your heart. Shajurching was too lazy to talk to Tezzolo, and directly stated his purpose. Oh, I know it in my heart. Hee, I'm sorry, I really don't know very well. I also asked the Thunder Hunter to explain it clearly, so as to avoid any misunderstanding. Tezzolo still pretended not to understand. Shajurching's smile suddenly became dangerous and joking. Hee, don't you really know? If so, let me help you with a good memory. After Shajurching finished speaking, he suddenly disappeared in place, and when he reappeared, he was already in front of Tezzolo. He was already wrapped in a layer of tyrannical thunder and lightning armor, holding a long knife in his hand. The blade was unparalleled, and he ripped through the air and slashed down at Tezzolo. Bang! But seeing Tezzolo stretch out his hand, there is a going fluid to confront and go, and the knife against Shajurching is defeated. As soon as we meet, you don't explain anything, and you use a knife at me, which seems a little rude. Thunder Hunter. Tezzolo's eyes suddenly changed from being approachable just now, to gloomy and fierce. Not polite. You expect me to be polite to you now? The power in Shajurching's hand suddenly increased a lot, and the going actually made a cracking sound, and it trembled very quickly. Rangkyaku, Tempest Kick, Libo. Shajurching lifted his foot and another terrifying lightning sword wave blasted out, causing Tezzolo to quickly back off. Then, reaching out to Young, a wave of going surged up in an instant, and roared towards Shajurching. Just let me see how hard your wings are now. I have already become my subordinates, but I just want to leave. When I am Shajurching, I really have no temper. Shajurching can tolerate Tezzolo's arrogance, but he is absolutely not allowed to do things that trample on his majesty. If everyone can leave if they want, then what kind of leader and majesty does he have, and how will he control his subordinates in the future? Chapter 238. You are so weak. Let's talk about these things after you beat me. In this world, the weak have no right to speak. Tezzolo didn't intend to continue nonsense with Shajur-Ching, and directly put everything on the bright side. Then come on, let me see how much your strength has grown over the past year. Shajur-Ching didn't flinch at all, and the thunder light all over his body burst into a more dazzling light. One-shot flow, profound meaning, destroyed. Shajur-Ching started the big move directly from the very beginning, and with the terrifying sword intent fluctuations, he deceived himself and slashed down. Going fist. Facing this move, Tezzolo's whole body exploded instantly, and there was a feeling of seeing death in an instant. Then, he also made a big move without hesitation. I saw the surrounding goings flowing like water waves, then turned into a huge fist, and slammed away. PFF'd. But this punch was torn apart instantly by Shajur-Ching, and this hard going couldn't stop Shajur-Ching for half a second. Shajur-Ching continued to rush towards Tezzolo without reducing his strength. Then, he passed by Tezzolo, the sword intent erupted, and the cove light shone. PFF'd. Tezzolo's eyes suddenly widened, full of disbelief. I saw a long opening in his chest suddenly, and blood splattered endlessly. What's the matter, is it only so much, Tezzolo? Shajur-Ching turned around again, covered by emission armament hockey, condensed all his strength, and punched Tezzolo away. Asshole, stop being arrogant. Tezzolo was immediately angry when he heard this, and the same amount of violence erupted. It turned into a huge fist again, exuding a hot breath, wrapped armament hockey, and slammed it away. PFF'd. But Tezzolo really underestimated Shajur-Ching. The moment they met, his expression changed. Then, it flew backwards like a kite with a broken string, and spit out a mouthful of blood. How is that possible? Tezzolo roared, full of disbelief. What's the matter, Tezzolo, who dares to yell at me so much, who gave you the courage? Shajur-Ching instantly deceived himself and approached, and the fire in his hand was facing his chest, and he stabbed it fiercely. Going armor. Tezzolo couldn't help but gasped, and quickly wrapped himself in a layer of going armor to resist. But that doesn't do much. The powerful force directly tore his armor and continued to act on his body, smashing him into the ground like a cannonball. Boom. The entire ship trembled violently, and the surrounding sea area was splashed with ripples. What happened? How can there be such a big commotion all of a sudden? Who is Tezzolo fighting? Go and see. There must be something very interesting going on here. Going City suddenly became interested, and they all came in the direction of Shajur-Ching and the two. Lord Tezzolo actually started a war with someone. Could it be that Thunder Hunter is here? Let's go, hurry up and have a look. In case Lord Tezzolo suffers, we can also help. After hearing this movement, the two subordinates of Tezzolo quickly moved in the direction of the two. Tezzolo had told them beforehand that the Thunder Hunter might come to trouble them in the near future. So, feeling this huge movement, they thought of this crop for the first time. Chapter 239 completely suppressed. Tezzolo, is that all you have? You're so weak. Shajur-Ching stomped hard with Moonstep in the air, just like a rocket, rushing towards Tezzolo in the depression on the ground. Going bondage. Tezzolo roared, and a piece of going roared like a stream of water, as if he had self-consciousness, wrapped around Shajur-Ching. Give me enlightenment, in this place where going is everywhere, how can you fight me? Looking at Shajur-Ching who was constantly dodging under the shackles of going, Tezzolo suddenly became proud again. Then you probably forgot, Tezzolo, what my abilities are. Showing your abilities in front of me is really courting death. Shajur-Ching used the dual abilities of Kami-E and Observation Haki to dodge under the pursuit of going very calmly. Then, the lightning flashed on the body, and then, it turned into a dazzling and thick lightning. Thunder escape. Chidori flow. Shajur-Ching drank lowly, and after hearing Shazher Qing's words, Tezolo's face changed suddenly. Seeing the thunder and lightning on Shazher Qing's body at this moment, he remembered that Shazher Qing's ability is thunder and lightning, extremely violent thunder and lightning. His golden fruit was completely suppressed in front of Shazher Qing. Going giants. Facing the terrifying thunderbolt that was rapping towards him, completely tearing his going restraint, Tezolo did not dare to neglect. Immediately, the ultimate move was activated, and an incomparably huge going giant wrapped him in it. Ziz. Almost at the moment when the going giant was formed, the entire going giant completely turned into a thunder giant. But this move doesn't do much damage to the going giant, not to mention the damage to Tezolo inside the going giant's body. Hunter of Thunder, let you see my growth over the past year. If you want me to come back again, just show the strength that can make me surrender. Going giant, Tezolo's arrogant roar came from. What about the going giant, Tezolo, do you think this will protect you? Shazher Qing snorted disdainfully, and then, a terrifying and violent wave lingered around his whole body, one sword. A move that poured all the power into a supreme sword wave, and the sky smashed into the going giant. Going God punishment. In the face of this supremely sharp knife, Tezolo did not dare to neglect, and he also burst out with all his strength. In the body of the going giant I saw, a manic golden pillar burst out, and the guided missiles' warheads mercilessly attacked the opponent. The air let out an overwhelmed whine, and the sags around the ship exploded. The power and oppression of this blow was unimaginable. Bang! When the crowd of spectators and Tezolo's subordinates arrived, they happened to see the shocking attack of the going giant and the sword wave colliding with each other. Boom! Immediately, an unimaginable violent storm swept out, affecting all the people around watching the battle, and blowing it out a few kilometers away. Boom boom boom. The terrifying collision also erupted with terrifying aftermath, and the ground beneath the going giant's feet was constantly collapsing. Even the entire going ship made a squeaking sound that was overwhelmed. Chapter 240 let you know despair. Only. Damn, how could it be so strong? Tezolo's going giant has burst out with such a powerful attack as going God's punishment, and has used the strongest strength he can achieve so far. But even so, the going giant is still being slowly forced back, and the going giant's body is actually cracking. As if he could not bear this force at all, Tezolo suddenly felt an unprecedented pressure hit. He knew that he underestimated Shazher Qing and looked at himself highly. One-shot flow, profound meaning, going through the sun. A sword wave is already so terrifying, and facing Shazher Qing's attack again, even Tezolo can't help but feel a little desperate. Let me come. However, at this moment, a somewhat frantic voice came. I saw a strong man who looked like a fool, and he wrapped armament hockey with both hands, blocking the sword wave. Stupid. Seeing this brawny man's behavior, Tezolo couldn't help but scolded in his heart. Ah! Sure enough, within 2 seconds, the brawny man suddenly let out a scream, and then was slammed into the going giant's body. Boom! The sword wave smashed heavily on the going giant's body, and immediately smashed the air into a big hole. The sea behind the going giant was torn apart by many cracks. Going giant also took a big step back, and I don't know how many buildings were broken. PFF'd. Tezolo couldn't help spitting out a mouthful of blood. The wound on his chest was torn even more seriously, and there was a thick horror in his eyes. Shazher Qing's strength was completely different from what he expected. This crushing strength was something he had never imagined. Kaka. Going giant's body was shattered even more seriously, and Tezolo felt like he was about to lose it. I won't just lose to you, Thunder Hunter, look down on others. Tezolo drank wildly. He didn't want to lose to Shazher Qing like this. As a result, he gritted his teeth and directly limited the output. Immediately, the going god's punishment was covered with terrifying flames, and the power suddenly increased sharply, actually resisting the 2 sword waves. Then, it was smashed and turned into a violent wind and waves raging. Suddenly, I don't know how many people were blasted out screaming, vomiting blood, fainting, and seriously injured. Seeing this, the people around couldn't help but stunned, and immediately stepped back a long distance. To make the going Emperor Tesoro so embarrassed, he is indeed the hunter of thunder. It really is terrifying. However, how did the Thunder Hunter conflict with Tesoro? According to what the two of them just said, it seems that there is a lot of articles in it. The people around watched the battle between the two, and various discussions began to sound continuously. It's quite tenacious. If that's the case, then I'll give you another fire. Lay done. Flying thunder sword. Shajirching kicked hard, and all his strength was wrapped in the flowing fire, just like a rocket slammed into the going giant. Boom. In the face of this move, Tesoro instinctively manipulated the going giant to fight, covering his chest with his arms. However, to his astonishment, after only 3 seconds of stalemate, this sword penetrated the arm of the giant going, and then slammed into the giant's chest. The terrifying force blasted into the air, knocking the going giant back a few steps, and his chest exploded.